Welcome back everyone to another Authenticity Life Coaching video blog. In today's video blog, I'm going to be talking about how to build resilience and overcome stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. I think this is such an important topic to cover because with a lot of the clients that I work with in my online courses and my coaching sessions, stress, anxiety, and overwhelm and burnout is such a common issue that we face as human beings, particularly in this day and age with all of the sensory stimulation, the high stress jobs and careers that we can have, and all of the different challenges that we face in life, just generally speaking, that can cause us to go into a state of overwhelm, a state where we are no longer able to function as our best selves. So I really feel this video blog because this is something that represented my journey of feeling overwhelmed, of feeling like I just had no capacity to be present with my children, with my wife, and feeling like deeply unfulfilled in my life. And like I was stuck on this treadmill and that I wasn't able to get off that treadmill. I felt trapped and I felt alone. And it was a big cause of depression and anxiety for me, a huge factor that really tipped me over the edge and caused me to not be able to function as a human being and not be able to bring my best self to the world and even to fulfill my higher values. It prevented me from doing a lot of things that were really important and essential for me in the next chapter of my life. So I've got my flip chart here with me today, and I'm going to be taking you through some of the top practices that you can engage in to help you build resilience and overcome anxiety and stress and overwhelm. And I'm going to be taking you through, and we're going to look at all of the things that contribute to this overwhelm, this stress, this anxiety. We're going to talk about the emotions. We're going to talk about the practices that are most significant and most valuable for overcoming those stress-related symptoms and the stress-related situations that we get ourselves into, so that we can empower ourselves to become resilient and face challenges in our life and grow through those challenges instead of those challenges becoming stumbling blocks. We want those challenges to become stepping stones. So I've written here all of the top practices, in my opinion, that are most empowering for people to engage in if they want to become more resilient and overcome stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. So at the top here I've written identifying and removing unnecessary stress. So this is really key, being able to identify and remove unnecessary stress in your life. And I'm going to go into and talk about what is unnecessary stress and what is necessary stress, because there's a lot of stress that is necessary and there's a lot of stress that's healthy and there's also a lot of stress that's unhealthy. So I'm going to also talk about healthy stress versus unhealthy stress. And at the bottom here, I'm going to be going into and talking about doing what you love and aligning yourself with your highest values, because that, in my opinion, is a really key, essential, important part of being able to build resilience and to overcome stress and anxiety that's weighing you down. It has played a huge role in my own journey of overcoming my stress and anxiety and overwhelm and the burnout that I was feeling. Down the bottom here, practicing gratitude. Again, super important practice. What is your gratitude practice? What do you do on a day-to-day basis to bring yourself into alignment with that state of gratitude, of being thankful for what you have in life and actually honoring what you have instead of always feeling like you're not enough and like you're never going to be enough no matter what you accomplish? Gratitude is essential. It's so important for building resilience and for overcoming stress, anxiety, and overwhelm. And the last one I've got there is self-care. Again, super important. So often in life, there are so many things, so many unnecessary stresses that we create in our life due to a simple lack of self-care, just not taking care of ourselves, not doing the things that we need to do to bring ourselves into a state of balance, a state of wholeness, a state of gratitude, and a state of relaxation. So we can, when we get stuck in that, on that treadmill of stress and we're in fight or flight, we've got tunnel vision, if we're not, if we get stuck in that and we stay in that long term, that's what leads to overwhelm, burnout, anxiety that becomes debilitating. All of those things, depression, all come from not being able to interrupt that stress pattern, that fight or flight, that tunnel vision, that we're not able to get off that stress treadmill. And so I'm going to talk about some of the self-care practices that you can engage in to help you get off that treadmill. So I'm going to turn this over. Okay, so we're going to be talking about identifying and removing unnecessary stress in your life. Now I have drawn this little balloon here, okay? Now this is really important because this balloon represents, this is your stress balloon, okay? And your stress, this is a great metaphor. I use this all the time when I'm trying to explain to people and clients and I'm talking about stress and overwhelm. Everybody has a certain capacity for stress, okay? And when we reach that capacity, where we are on the edge of having too much stress, okay, we have a very small capacity for stress because our balloon is full, okay? So now what happens to a balloon when it gets too full? It pops, okay? Bang, okay, game over, the balloon pops. And the same thing happens to us, when we have too much stress in our life. Our balloon gets full and it reaches this point where it only takes a very small amount of stress, okay, which is maybe your boss says something the wrong way, or maybe your wife, says that this bill is overdue. It's just little things, and your balloon's already full, so it overflows. And when our balloon overflows, that usually means that we get stuck into that deeper sense of fear, that deeper sense of feeling completely overwhelmed. Our body will shut down. Our nervous system is overwhelmed. We go into fight or flight. And overflowing is also, excessive outbursts of anger, just generally not coping. Those three fundamental responses: fight, flight, freeze. Okay, so when we are stuck in our fight and flight response, we are going to continually keep reacting to life, and we're going to react in a way that is a protective way, a defensive way, because we are overwhelmed. So we have to understand that this balloon, our stress balloon, what we need to do in order to counteract our stress is we need to deflate the balloon, okay? Now a balloon is often filled with shame, fear, guilt, those are the emotions that fill up our balloon. And generally having unrealistic expectations on ourselves, expecting us to do things that are not in alignment with our values or not true for us, or expecting ourselves to be something that we're not, or to do something that's superhuman that we couldn't really do on our own anyway. All of these expectations, fears, the guilt, the shame, cause our balloon to become full. Now, a lot of times our balloon is also full from our past conditioning, okay? So our past conditioning is the thing that causes our balloon to already be so full before we've even started our day, because it's like the baggage that we're hanging on to. And that baggage creates internal pressure, and that comes in the form of our belief systems, that are causing us to stay stuck in patterns of fear, guilt, and shame, and continue to do that. And that causes a lot of deep subconscious stress, anxiety, and it causes us to continually create more conflict in our life, in our relationships, in our relationship to ourselves, in our relationship to others, in our work. It doesn't matter. It affects every single area of our life. Okay, So we have to learn to start addressing these things that are stressing our life, working on ourselves, working on our patterns, our past conditioning, letting go of emotions that we don't need to hang on to anymore, learning to do shadow work and to dive into the unconscious aspects of our past and our childhood, maybe where we have trauma that's sitting there, stuck in our subconscious, that is continually being triggered. And the more that we can work on those things and heal the pain of the past and release that pain, the smaller our balloon gets and the more capacity we have to be present, to be loving, to really connect to the people and the things that matter most in our life. So practicing gratitude is a big part of that, and doing shadow work. And they're all things I talk about in other videos. If you want to find out more about those practices, please look at the videos that I've done on the higher self versus the lower self and the journey to wholeness, because that's I go more into those practices there. But again, we have to look at all the things that are making our balloon full, and we have to start deflating that balloon. Okay. Now I want to talk a little bit about healthy stress versus unhealthy stress. Now, healthy stress is defined as stress that helps you to grow out of your comfort zone, okay? So anything that stretches you out of your comfort zone in a way that is aligned with the things that you love doing or the things that are of most importance in your life, I would consider that as healthy stress, okay? So for me, like setting challenges to try and have bigger audiences and talk in front of bigger groups of people is a healthy challenge for me, because that stretches me out of my comfort zone. It excites me, it inspires me a little bit, and it gives me a sense of purpose and passion and energy. Automatically, I start to have more energy in my body. I start to feel more grateful. I start to feel more empowered. And see, when we do what we love, and we feel grateful for what we do, and we're challenging ourselves in a way that is healthy and aligned with our values, we'll automatically feel more grateful. When we feel grateful, we become more present, we become more loving, and we become more inspired, more enthusiastic, and all of those emotions, guess what they do? They decrease stress and they increase resilience, growth, okay? And our ability to have a steady, consistent focus, okay? So that is what is, really key here, is we have to understand that what is healthy stress versus what is unhealthy stress. So unhealthy stress is, in my opinion, is considered as anything that causes us to, move into a state of stress that is not aligned with our higher values, the things that are important and meaningful in our life. So when we get stuck in trivial stresses that are unnecessary stresses that are created when we're not focused and doing the things that we love, those trivial stresses tend to be unhealthy for us, because they're stresses that we're not consciously engaging in. They're stresses that just show up. And life is going to have a certain degree of uncertainty. Everything is uncertain, but we can choose to challenge ourselves with stresses that inspire us, or we can choose to let whatever life wants to throw at us come our way. And I guarantee you're going to be more inspired if you choose to challenge yourself in ways that inspire you versus waiting for the universe to drop random challenges in your life. And it has to do with when we are in a state of clarity and focus, and we're very clear about what we want to do in life, and we have that purpose, and we continue to set those goals align with our purpose and our values, then we're challenging ourselves. Those challenges will fulfill us. But when we don't have that sense of focus, that sense of direction, or that sense of doing what we love and aligning our life and around what we love doing, then we're going to attract challenges that are really uninspiring, that probably keep us stuck in our past conditioning, where we feel like we're, even if we're just sitting there and we're in our comfort zone and we're not really challenging ourselves to grow, and we're stagnant and stuck and not really, focusing on the things that inspire us, then we're going to naturally attract uninspiring challenges, things that are going to weigh us down, that are going to make us feel heavy, that are going to draw us into the emotions of fear, guilt, shame, and all of the other things that like overeating, addiction, numbing, the list goes on. So many different things that can start happening when our life is not inspiring anymore. We're not doing something that we love, and we're not aligning ourselves with those things that we love doing. So again, try to be conscious of what are the healthy stresses in your life, what are the unhealthy stresses. Healthy stresses being things that align with what is meaningful and what you love doing. Unhealthy stresses being things that you aren't inspired about, that you don't love doing, that take up a lot of your time, and where you aren't being clear about your purpose, about what is meaningful, and you're just letting the world throw things onto your lap without just determining that or having any say in the matter. Again, things where you feel like unhealthy stress is also classified as anywhere where you feel like you are unable to have any power in the situation to change that stress in your life. Okay, so we want to start looking at those healthy versus unhealthy stresses so that we can start becoming more conscious and direct our energy towards healthy stress, and then naturally the unhealthy stresses will start to fall away. And when we do face unforeseen challenges and things that we didn't expect, we'll be much more resilient because we're inspired. You see, we're more grateful, more grounded, and in that state of gratitude, in that state of being more grounded, more loving, you are naturally going to have a greater capacity to be able to deal with unforeseen, uncertain challenges that come into your life, because they're going to come anyway. But again, our state of energy will determine how we react to life, how stressed we get about it, and how full our balloon is, or how much capacity we have to handle it. So if we deflate that balloon, we have a greater capacity to be present and to be resilient and to grow through those challenges in life. Okay, so I'm going to turn this over now. And we kind of sort of just covered this next one, which is doing what you love and aligning your life with your higher values. Okay, but I want to talk a little bit more about it. So again, doing what you love and aligning your life with your highest values, as I just said, it's probably one of the most powerful antidotes for stress. If we can do what we love and we can align our whole life around the things that are most fulfilling for us, we're going to naturally and spontaneously become more grateful, more loving, and we're going to naturally and spontaneously have more resilience and more capacity to be present and deal with those challenges. And we're going to have more capacity to grow through them instead of getting stuck in them, okay? So that's super important to remember that. What are you doing in your life, and what do you spend most of your day doing? Do you spend most of your day doing things that are uninspiring, that you don't love to do? Or do you spend most of your day doing the things that light you up, that make you come alive inside, that make you feel, inspired, enthusiastic, grateful, loving, connected to yourself? Are you doing meaningful work? Okay, and I'm not going to label that as it has to be a job or a career. It could be anything. As long as it's what lights you up, it doesn't matter what form it's in, as long as you get to spend your time doing it. That is what's most important. So the next one down here, we have practicing gratitude. So practicing gratitude, again, I've kind of already gone through this, but I want to reiterate it again. I want to go into it in a little bit more detail this time. So what are your gratitude practices? Okay, because gratitude is great, and a lot of people talk about practicing gratitude, I practice gratitude, but I'm only interested in, what is your practice? What are you doing on a day-to-day basis or from a moment-to-moment basis to implement this practice of gratitude into your life? And are you actually bringing your energy into that state of gratitude, or is it just superficial gratitude? Okay, superficial gratitude is where, we're just happy that all these things seem to be going right. That's it. That's superficial gratitude. When we have deep gratitude, we are grateful for the support and the challenge in our life. We're grateful for the whole thing, for everything as it is. That's true gratitude, not just superficially being grateful for, little trivial things that happen in our life. We need to be able to have a practice that allows us to go deep and become deeply grateful And again, this is about setting the intention for the day. So when I start my day, I do a meditation and I have a gratitude practice. I go through affirmations that I say to myself, and I keep saying these affirmations to myself, like, I deeply love and accept myself the way that I am. And I keep saying them until I truly feel it in my heart. I feel this overwhelming sense of gratitude. Sometimes I get tears in my eyes, all these symptoms, and I know then that I'm aligning myself with that state of gratitude, and it's having an effect on my subconscious mind. My body is fully alive and feeling that deep sense of gratitude. And I keep going till I feel that. And I know that when I do that, I'm aligning my energy with gratitude, and I'm practicing gratitude. The other way to practice gratitude is obviously to simply sit down and just be grateful for the things that you have in your life. Find the gifts and the things that you love about your life, that you're grateful for. And when you're grateful for things in your life, and they truly are things that cause you to feel grateful, you'll find that will create more gratitude in your life. When you're grateful for what you have, you get more to be grateful for. So what are your practices, your daily practices for gratitude? What are your gratitude practices? How could you integrate that into a daily ritual to align yourself more powerfully with that state of gratitude and giving thanks for what you have? Okay, the last one I've got here is self-care. Okay, so again, I want to ask you, what are your self-care rituals? Okay, and what do you do on a day-to-day basis to balance the intensity of what you do, the challenges that you face? You know, what are your self-care rituals? Again, when I talk about this, I want to talk about your rituals for taking care of your mind, your body, and your emotions. So mentally, emotionally, and physically, spiritually as well. What practices are you engaging in to create a deeper sense of self-care? And again, self-care is all about rest and relaxation. It's about creating balance. It's about creating downtime, allowing your body and your mind and your soul to recover, to find its equilibrium again. And it's also about creating space for family and for just doing things that you enjoy doing. So maybe potentially some hobbies that you love doing, so that you feel more fulfilled, relaxed. That is the purpose of self-care. And self-care is also on a physical level about taking care of diet. So what type of food do you eat? Does that food align with what you love doing? Does it assist you in creating energy, vitality, and a sense of vigor and physical strength and general well-being? Or does the food that you eat weigh you down? Is it heavy? Does it make you feel lethargic? Does it put your body and your mind and your emotions out of balance? Because a lot of foods that we eat cause a lot of imbalance in our body, in our mind, in our emotions, and then obviously we spiritually will feel more heavy. So again, what are we eating, and is that food that we're eating and our daily self-care rituals, are they supporting our highest values? Are they supporting our authentic needs and values and the things that are meaningful in our life? Because if they're not, then that's a real, another thing, I guess you could say, that's filling up that balloon and causing it to be, too full of air, too full of stress in this situation. So there's some really powerful things for you to think about. Okay, and again, I guarantee you, if you really take the time out of your day to implement these practices, you will see significant results in your life. You'll see significant changes. I guarantee that to people that put these practices into place. But it works if you work it, but you have to put in the time to do that. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video.